you doing? It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. Good morning. It's been a while since I worked on the snowmobile. While I do still have a lot of things to do, I want to get to the snowmobile a little bit because I've gotten to the point where it turns over slightly, right? And all I need to do now is figure out whether or not I need to clean the carburetor or not. Will it run on its own with fuel in the tank? So usually when I work on lawnmowers and stuff like that, I would spray some Jigging into the carburetor and see if it turns over. If it turns over, it's getting spark, it has compression, and it'll run on fuel. But the gas tank, I didn't really see if there was any clogs in there or anything like that, but we'll find out. So some subscribers had commented on the previous episodes who said that your next step should be pre-mixing some 50-to-1 or just some oil in the gas so that it won't damage the bore or the piston rings or anything like that if you're not 100% sure whether or not the oil injector works. So I'm going to pre-mix some fuel a little bit, pour it into the gas tank, see if there's any leaks and whether or not the gas is getting to the carburetor. And then if that runs, great. If it runs on its own, great. If it doesn't run on its own though, and it stalls, probably the carburetor's dirty, which means, now that's very intimidating for me because I've never removed a carburetor from a snowmobile before. I've watched some videos. It doesn't seem to be really that hard, but there is a lot of vacuum lines, you know, and I don't have any idea what I'm doing. So if I disconnect the vacuum line or I burst it or something like that, it's not going to run right at all. But we know it does have spark, and we know that it does turn over. So let me just look in the gas tank, or maybe try to remove some things to maybe take the gas tank out. I don't know how hard or easy it is, but we'll go through those steps right now. So I opened the hood. We're at the gas tank, and it looks completely empty. When I blow through it, there's like no resistance whatsoever. As if the feeling of like there's a hole, a big gaping hole in the gas tank. Anyway, I trailed it. This thing over here is a vent, and that runs to this line here. And I just put it out so I can obviously see if there's any fuel coming out. This black line right there that comes out of the gas tank and into a fuel shutoff. That line right here goes into the fuel shutoff, goes back in again, comes back out and leads to this fuel pump right there. Goes into this fuel pump. The middle one is a pulse coming from the intake or a crankcase, and this line over here that I have the light beam on, that goes right into the darker brown one, the thicker one. This one goes right into the carburetor over here. If you look at this fuel line right here, it looks like it's really brittle and hard. Also, it looks like it has crap in it. I think I would have to change that. It's easy enough. It's right there. So I'll just change that segment of it. And that's just a piece of what we can test to see if whether or not it's clogged or not. In addition, I did this off camera a couple of days ago. This is the primer, okay? And when I pulled it out and pushed it back in, it didn't seem like it was doing anything, okay? So I took it out, and it was clogged with stuff, okay? And it didn't prime. So it has one nozzle that goes out, one goes curved. The curved one sucks in gas, and when you push it out, the straight one shoots gas out. So I got this working again. But it feels a little weird right now, to be honest with you. Because look, when I pull, it goes back in by itself. You're supposed to be able to pull and then push stuff out. So that's weird. I figured if I saw a leak or it was clogged, then I would change it. Why change something that may or may not be broke, you know? So I mixed some 50 to 1 or about that. I basically just filled some gas up to here and just poured it until you get this hue. That's how I mixed it for over 30 years. Never had a problem. So I'm just going to pour it in here, start priming a little bit, see if we have any leaks, and you know, it's not a whole lot of gas, you know what I mean? But at least we got to have something in here. Get some in the gas tank, Henry. That's a good amount. Now I'm going to check for leaks. I'm going to try the primer a little bit and see if we have any leaks. So trickle, trickle, trickle. That gas should be going through there. But you know what? It's fuel pump operated, so it needs a pulse for the gas to go through, you know. So I'm going to try this primer a little bit, and I'll let you guys know what happens. So I wasn't getting any fuel at all, and so I cut the line so that, and I added a fuel line from the gas tank directly to the carburetor, gravity fed. It doesn't seem like it's enough gas that I poured in to make a difference, you know? So, and even when I blow into the gas tank, I feel like there's a hole. There's no resistance at all. So it's weird. But no gas is flowing gravity fed wise directly to the carburetor. It wasn't going through the fuel shutoff. It wasn't going through anything. So the primer doesn't seem to work. I pulled the rope a bunch of times to get the fuel pump to pulse and kind of pump gas into it, but nothing's happening. So like I said, fuel line directly from the gas tank straight to the carburetor. I did suck on this hose a little bit and gas was coming out, but I think I have to add more gas. That little bit just probably coated the bottom. So after adding more fuel into the gas tank, I'm still not getting any flow. Gravity fed, nothing's coming out. I mean, when I suck on it, something comes out. Also, there's this hose here. I couldn't find where this hose went, but it's a pretty thick hose, and it goes to a fuel filter. See? So why would it have a fuel filter if it's not fuel, right? Why would there be two lines? One going into there, and the one that I just did, right? So I disconnected this, and motor oil came out of it. If this is a two-stroke, why is there motor oil in there? I mean, free-flowing motor oil coming out of there. It's very strange. With a fuel filter? What's up with that? Should I just drain that? Okay, so I dipped my finger into the reservoir where the two-stroke oil is supposed to be. It is the same consistency, but when it ran through the lines, it looked really clear to me. So it's supposed to be black, you know, but it wasn't. It seemed like it was regular motor oil. So I don't know about that. So I managed to get the gas tank off, right? And look at the amount of space here. There's like 2 inches before it gets to the petcock, which means you need a ton of fuel in here for it to even drip. Now look, here's the petcock, right? Listen to this. I'm going to rotate it. So it has like a pickup line that's either, it sounds like steel or brass or something, and it's going do, 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 do. So it has to be obviously hitting the bottom for it to be picking up any gas, you know. So there has to be a fuel pump to it to suck it out. I think there might be some kind of a valve in here that it only comes out if there's pulse, you know, a sucking mechanism to get fuel there. Otherwise, fuel won't just gravity come out, you know. So you do need a lot of fuel for it to even trickle out. Also, I think there's a leak here. See, it's wet over here, and then there's a little gash right inside here. So, I don't know, guys. I'm a little overwhelmed. So I just picked up the gas tank just to look at it, and then when I tilted it, fuel poured out of 2 huge holes in the gas tank that looked like they were purposely drilled. What is up with that? And that's the reason why they had duct tape all over it, and they tried to fix the hole. But these look like regularly drilled holes. Why would they drill a gas tank? So that's why I was blowing into the, fill and not feeling any resistance whatsoever. There's 2 huge gaping holes in the gas tank. Preposterous, right? I mean, you think they tried to drill something in there to attach something and drilled into the gas tank by accident, and then they realized it, so they tried to fix it? That's just dumb, isn't it? Well, I'm screwed now because, the gas tank is a big deal. You know what I mean? All right. Well, I might have to try to get a gravity gas tank from a lawnmower or something and just hook it up right here and let it drip into the carburetor and see what happens. Because you certainly can't use this. I've tried to mend gas tank holes. It has to be a really good seal, so this gas tank's Dunsky. Okay, I've emptied the gas tank, the bad one, and I found this old Briggs & Stratton one that mounted onto the side of a lawn tractor type engine, whatever. Anyway, I have it hooked up directly, perfect gravity right down to the carburetor. And I'm going to take the little bit of fuel that I managed to squeeze out of that leaky one. Oh, shit. Is it leaking? Oh, no. Is it just me spilling? All right, so look. Fuel is going directly in there. Why is it so messy?
You need to get a funnel, Henry.
Oh, shut up. All right, so gas is going to the carburetor. We see it dripping in there. This is a little dangerous, I think, right? A little. So we got gas going in there. I guess I could give it a couple of pulls. This thing is super sketchy. That doesn't work. I'm going to take this down. So after pulling it for a while, as you saw in time lapse maybe, I blew a little bit of carb spray in there and it sort of started again, a little bit, just a puff. But pulling that thing, man, I'm telling you, you'll pull your back right out. Anyway, so it occurred to me that there's 2 cylinders, right? And I only have gas going to one of the carburetors. When I looked at the second one over here, this is the gas line to this carburetor. What's really cool is, and I've never seen it before, but this fuel pump actually has 3 outlets and 1 inlet. 1 inlet for the gas, the middle inlet for the pulse from the engine, and then 2 lines that go into 2 carburetors. So because I'm bypassing the fuel pump altogether for testing, I still need to get fuel to the other carburetor, which I don't have connected at all. So there's no fuel going into that carburetor, only this one, which is probably one of the reasons why it's so hard to start. It's because it's only running on one carburetor with gas. So I need a T. I need a T that splits into 2 gas lines that go into the carburetor. I definitely don't have a T. So I'll go look in my bin of parts and see what kind of petcock thingamajig I can find, or I might have to get another gas tank and strap it to there and gravity feed it to that. Okay, I have an LT1000 gas tank on this side. I didn't have a T, so I can't split one line into 2. I just don't have it. So the only choice is for testing, is to have one gas tank going to one carburetor, second gas tank going to the other carburetor, both getting fuel. So I just mixed up my 3rd batch of Henry mix. Oh my God, get it inside. Yeah, that ought to work. Going in there. Yep. Gas is flowing into the second carb. Super sketchy the way this is. Alright, so it's getting gas. I think inevitably I have to clean the carburetor, because I'm not sure if it's getting any gas, you know? Carburetor could be trashed. Oh, man. Hey, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. I just blew some carb cleaner into each of the 2 holes in front of the mouth of the carburetor, just in case they were clogged. At least I sort of primed it internally. And anyway, sometimes when you leave it for a while, the new fresh gas and oil trickle down to wherever a clog may be and clears it. Me pulling it so many times is pulsing it to jar something. I don't know. That's it. I quit. I took out one of the spark plugs. As you can see, it's super wet. I've flooded it. It's not going to get any spark. Just let it wait for a little while. Took out the other one too, and it was also super wet. I'm going to dry these off, and I'm going to pull it without the spark plugs in to extract any significant amount of fuel out there. Put them back and try it again. Oh, that's good. So it's not, carburetor's not flooding it. Put the spark plugs back in. All right, spark plugs are back in again. They dried off. I cleared the chamber. If this doesn't turn over at least a little bit, I quit for the day. Ooh, it kind of did. Ooh. Ooh, you heard it? Let's try throttling here. So this works. How about it? How about it, fellas? Think it'll start again? How about that, fellas? There wasn't any smoke. I was really surprised. Two-stroke stuff, usually there's a ton of smoke, you know what I mean? When the engine started to heat up a little, you could see a little bit, small hue, but how about that, guys? Are you stoked or what? My God, I can't believe it. It runs great. It idles fine. I guess I don't have to clean the carburetors. Throttles really well, very responsive. I noticed that in the beginning, when I put a little bit more throttle to it, it was jumping. It wanted to move. You know what I mean? So, man, I'm stoked. I was about to give up. You guys saw the look on my face of complete defeat and exhaustion? Man, I am stoked. It was, you know, you run into these problems with lawn tractors too, when something just won't start, you know what I mean? You take the spark plug out, and if it's not completely drenched, wet from fuel, you're not going to get a spark out of that until you know, sit for a few hours until it, you know, evaporates a little, you know? But cleaned off both spark plugs with a towel just so it gets spark, ignites the chamber, and fantastic, man. The trick was that I gave it a little bit of throttle as I pulled it, kind of like a weed whacker. You know, when you're pulling it, and then when you just, while you're pulling it, you throttle, you know, you trigger a little, and fired right up. Man, that's great. I am stoked. I am super, super impressed and relieved, and the euphoria of getting it to run like that and starting up again, no problem. But now my pickle, of course, is you can't have two things like that. Not to mention the fact that I don't know whether or not the oil injector is working. Do I have to pre-mix for the entirety of this and just believe that the oil injector is working? I mean, look, I disconnected that oil line from that tank into the thing, and it was full of oil, so I guess it's working. But because I have premix in there, it already has oil in it. So an overabundance of oil, shouldn't that make the thing smoke a shitload? But yet we don't see a lot of smoke. So, I mean, for now, I guess I'll just pre-mix the stuff that I'm putting in here. Look, I'm not riding this anywhere soon, you know what I mean? But I don't think the carburetor needs to be cleaned. Otherwise, there's no way that would have idled like that. And good throttle as well. So right now, I just got to think about what I'm going to do about the gas tank, right? Because if I have a gas tank here, it has to be fuel pump fed. And I don't know if that fuel pump works, you know? And that fuel pump is unique to this because it's not like a lawn tractor fuel pump where it has the middle one is the pulse, one is the feed, and one is the output to the carburetor, right? This one has the middle pulse, the feed, and two outputs to two carburetors. So, I mean, I guess I could take that out and test it, but, you know, I'm going to price out and see what a new one costs. You know, usually they're like $10 or something. Why bother taking it out and trying to clean it and stuff like that when I could just buy one for $10? But I'll check it out. And if that's the case, then we'll know that works. Then I could think about a gas tank for a snowmobile. That's tough to find, though. You know what? You know what would fit as a gas tank? And I just sold it to one of those John Deere or Craftsman high horsepower, high cut lawn tractors that have a gas tank in the back, the elongated square kind. That would work. I just put that there, but I mean, it would look ugly though. It wouldn't even look like a snowmobile, you know? It looks like a slab with a chain on it, tracks, you know? But anyway, that's my video for today. Stay tuned for the next project that I do with this. You know, you go on the internet, you think a little bit and all that, but Today, I mean, I was about to give up. You guys saw. I was this close to giving up and calling it a day when all I did was just dry off the spark plugs and it fired right up. It's great. I mean, sounds great. Idled without any problems. You know, I didn't have to do anything. You know, it was idling just fine. Shuts off when you want it. Pull starts when you want it. We just have the fuel tank issue right now. Look, if I could hide these fuel tanks somehow and have it work without a fuel pump, I'm all for it. I like gravity-fed stuff much better. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining me, fellas. We'll see you guys all next time. Buy a sticker. Donate $1 or $2. Share, like, subscribe. You see me in the recommended? Just subscribe. We'll see you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers. See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.